It is 9 o'clock. This is BTV News coming to you live from the capital, Gaborone. I am Khomotso Maphani. The headlines. Members of the Botswana Public Employees Union urged to remain professional. Tati company hands over documents transferring ownership of land to the government of Botswana.
In sport, Botswana National Sport Commission CEO delighted with how athletes and sports officials performed this year.
Interpreting in sign language is Topot Taposa. Good evening. Members of the Botswana Public Employees Union Bopeu have been urged to always remain professional for improved service delivery. This was said by different speakers at the ongoing Bopeu elective Congress in Palape, which was officially opened by Minister for State President Mr. Mweti Mhwasa. Love more, Mario.
These are some of the members of Botswana Public Employees Union from different branches and structures across the country, singing songs appealing to the new government for a wage increase and also to improve the conditions of service. Members converge for an elective Congress every 3 years to deliberate on ways of improving their service delivery, amongst others. Amongst the speakers is the outgoing president, Ms. Masego Mogwera, who appealed to the government for unionization of prison services employees.
Over the years, we bargained about the unionization of the prison services. Over the years, we have tried to impress upon government to appreciate that prison services are not part of the disciplined forces and therefore should be allowed to unionize.
We need to get to the root cause of why we are where we are as a nation, as the labor market. This cannot remain ignored, because ignored, they will continue to weaken social dialogue, to weaken bargaining power.
The government promised the members of Bopeu to adhere to the set standards by the international labor organizations and also address employee grievances for an agile workforce.
We also commit to review and amend the Public Service Act, development and review of salary structure, fan-shaped, human resource policies and guidelines. Madam President, I would like to assure you and pledge our commitment as a government to comply with international best practices, resuscitating the bargaining council and address employee grievances to build a sound industrial relations environment in our republic.
I think as public servants, we have to invest in this issue of customer service.
The members also appealed to the government to review operations of parastatals where corruption is allegedly rife. This Congress, which is held under the theme Promoting Decent Work in the New Social Contract, is expected to come to end on Thursday with the elections of the new Executive Committee. Love more, Mario, BTV News, Palape.
Government has reclaimed the freehold land in the Northeast District that has been in the hands of Tati Company since 1911. In a historical move on Monday, Tati Company handed over documents transferring ownership of 45,000 hectares of land to the government of Botswana after a sales agreement worth 1.4 billion pula. Bethany Mando has more.
Tati Company General Manager Mr. Ogaisitse Khama handing over the title deed and the land documents to the government of Botswana to mark a peaceful return of a portion of freehold land they acquired through the proclamation in 1911 during the colonial era in the Tati district. The Minister of Land and Agriculture, Dr. Marcus Chimbombi, says the acquired land will resolve the long-standing issue in Northeast. We are witnessing the handover of the remaining of freehold land that was in the hands of Tati Company. This means that From now onwards, Tati Company is not owning any freehold land in Northeast, as we have transferred all the remaining land to the government of Botswana.
Ke go amogela lehatshe lotlhe le ne le saletse Tati Company.
Part of the sale is government's intention to invest in Francistown by expanding the CBD southwards, as was done in Gaborone. This is very much needed.
Tati East and Tati West members of parliament witnessed this historic moment with mixed reactions of excitement and a bit of resentment due to how the land was acquired.
Minister, resante re ta kopa proper land audit ya lehatshe le re bona gore a mme lehatshe le lotlhe le busitswe ka rona na tumelo gore ke goletse mo kgaolong re batla lehatshe le lotlhe go ile land audit
ya rona re mo boipuso re dumela jalo gore jalo re tanna le gone go lema le lehatshe la thuo le ileng gore batho ba Tati East ga go buiwa ka lehatshe le le mo pisong mahudiso a tanna teng.
The Minister of Environment and Tourism, Mr. Winter Muluzi, who is also the MP for Francistown South, says the second city is also going to benefit from the land and bring hope for the residents.
Mo toropong ya rona re na le more than 20,000 ya batho ba ile gore ba mo waiting list.
In Francistown, we have a waiting list of more than 20,000 for sharp plots, and we expect the government to speed up the process of land allocation to Botswana.
Ya gore lehatshe le ditiro tse di ka dirwang mo go lone le tele kgone gore le neelwe Botswana.
This is one of the private land that was initially owned by Tati Company, and today it has been transferred to the government of Botswana. It borders between Francistown and Tonota village along the Oiwan Road. This transfer of title deed to the government of Botswana now closes the chapter for Tati Company as a major holder of private land in the Northeast District. Bethany Mando, BTV News, Francistown.
Minister for International Relations, Dr. Penyo Butale, has indicated that government is resolute in its commitment to a foreign policy anchored on respect for human rights, upholding democracy, prioritizing socio-economic development, as well as positioning Botswana as a proactive international partner. Dr. Butale made the remarks at a meet and greet with resident diplomatic missions and international organizations accredited to Botswana that was held in Gaborone on Tuesday.
Hardly 3 weeks following his appointment as the Minister for International Relations, Dr. Butale called resident diplomatic missions and international organizations accredited to Botswana to a meeting to dialogue on how best our countries could efficiently drive the government's aspirations of reducing youth unemployment, enhancing socio-economic development and upholding democracy. The minister is optimistic that strengthening bilateral ties with other countries in pursuit of promoting economic diplomacy will propel his ministry towards the attainment of this dream.
In addressing the critical issue of youth unemployment, the government is dedicated to actively pursuing economic diplomacy. This entails strategic outreach to foreign investors interested in not only seizing opportunities in Botswana, but also investing in the development of local industries and job creation. Your Excellencies, securing market access to Botswana's exports will be a cornerstone of our economic diplomacy strategy. This includes navigating trade agreements and fostering relationships with other countries to facilitate the export of our goods such as beef, textiles, and various agricultural products.
We are ready to work with the governments in achieving of its agenda at bilateral and multilateral relations in order to facilitate the promotion of peace, stability, democracy, good governance, and human rights, to reinforce and consolidate the bonds of friendships and cooperation among our country and international organizations, as you have said in your speech, such SADC, African Union, United Nations, European Union, among others.
Botswana and her international partners stand to equally benefit from their strengthened bilateral ties.
I'm happy to indicate that they have pledged support from their respective governments and countries, that yes, indeed, they will help us. Because, you know, their help also comes as something that they will benefit from. You know, when countries trade, we can sell products to them, they can sell products to us. This is the kind of interaction or relationship that we want to have with other countries around the world.
This meeting comes at a critical time when President Advocate Duma Boko has set a deliberate 100 days transformative drive towards accomplishing significant developmental progress.
The Assistant Minister of Communications and Innovation, Mr. Sean Taile, says that teaching learners about cybersecurity gives them the skills needed to safely navigate the digital world for education and entertainment purposes, which also exposes them to online risks such as identity theft and cyberbullying. This was said at an award ceremony for 4 secondary schools that took part in the International Cybersecurity Awareness Month debates.
Schools in Botswana, just like the rest of the world, rely on technology for educational purposes, administrative tasks, as well as communication, which can expose educational institutions to cyber threats. To counterattack the threats, this year's Cybersecurity Awareness Month focused on teaching students and the public about the importance of updating software, using strong passwords, and turning on factor authentication.
They are the most tech-savvy generation and therefore are the most at risk of cyber incidents. But also because of their tech-savvy nature, they are the most likely to be innovative and come up with solutions to cyber incidents. We reached out to young people from 4 senior secondary schools in Gaborone to help spread the message.
A national cybersecurity strategy that we are implementing currently under strategic objective number 6, we are seeing cybersecurity as an industry, as a means of creating wealth, not only for government, but also for businesses, for individuals, like yourselves. You are growing up to be adults of tomorrow.
Students aspire to be cyber security experts in the future.
What I understand about cybersecurity is raising awareness in order to protect individual data that is shared online.
Basically, the whole competition was a debate about cybersecurity, looking at the different complexities of cybersecurity, looking at policy-wise, especially because cybersecurity usually infringes on rights and privacy, and how we can tackle those to mitigate and come to a consensus about how we can secure our devices while still maintaining privacy for people.
So what I understand is cybersecurity is the process whereby we protect our data. So it's very important because we live in a digital era. So most of us, we are transitioning from the old to the new thing, which we are going to use our devices more often. So knowing about cybersecurity or getting equipped about cybersecurity is us protecting ourselves, us protecting the government and also big institutions. Thank you.
The cyber field is a field that I'm very interested in because one, I am very passionate about law and engineering, and if I was to go into the cyber space, I think one, there's money, and also as a female, I think it would show that, okay, fine, as females we can also do what is known to be predominantly done by men.
Parents were called upon to monitor their children's internet use, especially social media, as it can likely expose them to harmful content. BTV News, Gaborone.
Men have been encouraged to take responsibility of protecting their families and members of society to help in the fight against gender-based violence. This was said by the mining manager at Lukara, Mr. Kavis Carillo, when officiating at an outreach event organized by the Tlhakane Men's Sector Committee to sensitize men on gender-based violence-related issues. Sabayitsin Tabuho with more.
Statistics from Letlhakane Police shows that 90 cases of GBV were registered in Letlhakane in the month of November only. As part of the 16 days of activism against GBV, Letlhakane Men's Sector organized an outreach activity to sensitize men on issues of GBV. Men have been identified as the most perpetrators in gender-based violence cases, especially against women and children. So they are implored to take a role in protecting the society as one way of fighting GBV.
Let's take our societal leadership. They are breadwinners, they are heads of families.
Let's embrace those things we can't change and leave them as they are. May God bless us.
And how we treat others, the society, the community. Let's work hand in hand together to take leadership.
Always seek help from the relevant institutions for counseling. Let me talk about rape and defilement cases because they are still continuing in the society. Cases of defilement and rape are the leading causes of GBV. When a woman says no, we should listen to them.
My no is my right.
We have been informed that the dependence of women on men to supply everything perpetuates GBV. I urge you women to work for yourselves. The meeting concluded with a football tournament that involved teams from Orapa and Letlhakane. Sebastian Teboho, BTV News, Letlhakane.
Still on gender-based violence, in Mokani, the Manpower Movement hosted a male-oriented session to discuss issues that are known to perpetuate GBV and to hear the views of men on how this can be combated. The Assistant Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Mr. Augustine Yatanga, was in attendance to motivate the residents to fight gender-based violence. Gabriel Meriki has more.
A call for males only, dubbed Pitsuabo Relebasimani, for them to come and express their opinions and views freely about issues regarding gender-based violence. A unique session designed by Manpower Movement in partnership with Peace Corps, an American NGO, to engage males on the issues of mental health as a way of trying to tackle GBV.
So I've been collaborating with Manpower Movement as well as other stakeholders in the community to put on this event for the past month. Our goal with it was to just bring men and boys into the conversation surrounding GBV. We decided to have it this week because of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And it's a part of a series of events our community is putting on.
The Assistant Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Mr. Augustine Yatanga, says men should play a more active role in curbing gender-based violence. It is important to take action and not wait because it will take long. This needs me and you to take action so that we change the situation. I want to tell you that in our country, GBV is at 27%, which means Botswana has a high rate.
Imo selong sa 27%.
Various thoughts on how to tackle GBV were shared. I have learned valuable lessons today, which I will share with my younger brothers at home, that there are many helpful ways that could help reduce GBV. We could go and seek counseling if we are not happy, and we could read books about how the human mind works. I have learned that parents should stay with their children and take care of them so that they do not get involved in sexual acts with older people because no one is looking out for them. For a man to stop abusing or avoid situation of abuse, they should visit relevant counseling sectors, such as social workers. And if he has a partner, they should learn to talk calmly with each other. Men and boys are encouraged to live by the notion that a problem shared is a problem solved, in order to find solution quickly instead of resorting to violence. Gabriel Mereki, BTV News, Mokani.
In regional news, Namibia's ruling party SWAPO led both the presidential and parliamentary races earlier today, a week after voting took place in an election marred by technical challenges. SWAPO, which has governed Namibia since independence from apartheid South Africa in 1990, fielded Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah as its presidential candidate. If she wins, she would become Namibia's first female leader. Results were initially expected a few days after the November 27th poll, but voting was extended to November 29th and 30th at several polling stations after some voters were unable to cast their ballots on election day due to technical difficulties and ballot paper shortages. At 15:45 GMT, the Electoral Commission's online portal showed Nandi-Ndaitwah was leading the presidential race with 58.1% of the vote after results from 91.8% of constituencies had been declared. Her nearest challenger, the leader of the main opposition Independent Patriots for Change, IPC, 60-year-old Panduleni Edula, had 25.4% of the vote. However, the 72-year-old Nandi-Ndaitwah needs to secure more than 50% to avoid a second run of voting. Namibians voted separately for the National Assembly. SWAPO was the leading parliamentary race with 52.68% of votes counted that far. Up next is sport with Tato Khosimori.
Thank you, Khomotso Mapani. It is an honor and privilege for me to welcome you to Botswana Tonight sports segment. I am Tato Khosimori. Good evening. And at the top story, Botswana National Sport Commission Chief Executive Officer Tuelo Serufo says besides the Commission's success in accomplishing their set goals for the past year, he's also delighted with how their athletes and sports officials performed, saying the LATAM has excelled when given the chance to officiate in highly ranked competitions, which is a sign of growth in the country's sports fraternity. Serufo said this at the BNAC annual general meeting held in Gaborone on Monday. Katlego Kgakole and the Williams Seyoka.
Serufo further said their primary goal is to develop more athletes and officials who can represent the blue, black and white flag at international stage, emphasizing that his commission will play the role of supporting their delegates and their respective associations.
The next one was the number of active officials at the highest level. Our target was 130, we were at 125. We've had new entrants in the space now coming to even the last couple of months. The chair did speak to some of our officials officiating at the Olympic Games. For example, Dorothy Okach was doing so for the first time. I suppose, if I'm not mistaken, basketball. She was the first person from basketball to officiate at the Olympic Games from Botswana.
In the development and renovation of sports infrastructure, the BNSC will build a shopping mall to generate income. They will also refurbish their stadiums around the country to make sure they meet international standards, so as to avoid a situation where our national teams will have to play regional and international competitions outside, as it is already happening to some of neighboring countries.
We have recently advertised for expressions of interest to develop a shopping center on the piece of land that is popularly known as the Notwane grounds. There is a 3 million pula for Molepolole Stadium. The procurement is ongoing with respect to that. There was 10 million pula that was availed to refurbish and upgrade Lobatse Stadium. Unfortunately, government effected some budgetary cuts, and Lobatse was affected as some 4.5 out of the 10 million pula was taken from Lobatse. So essentially, it means our scope has now been reduced.
Expectations are that the Botswana National Sports Commission fulfill their mandate and meet their set target in order to improve performance at the world stage, which in itself can improve the quality of our athletes and officials, especially those who depend on sports as their only source of income. Katlaho Kakule, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Moving on, the Botswana swimming team set off yesterday to compete in the Africa Aquatics Zone 6 Swimming and Open Water Championship to be held in Windhoek, Namibia from the 4th to the 8th December 2024. Horata Muing.
The team, which comprises of 19 swimmers, will compete in the developmental games with other 14 other countries in pursuit to the build-up of African Junior and Senior Championship.
Is that our athletes are exposed to dangers and risks, and we thought that going forward that it's very important that you all recognize that there are risks, and as the BSSA we just want to just cement what you already know, that your coaches would have shared with you, that your parents would have shared with you. Looking at the list, we do have some first timers on the tour. So we just thought it would be a wise thing for us just to re-emphasize certain things. First of all, I just want to say that as swimmers, your coaches have already shared with you the dangers of taking substances that may be on a banned list. And I won't go through what's banned or what's on the banned list, because as the BSSA, we assume that your coaches have already shared this information with you, also your parents as well. So for the first timers on tour, I just want to encourage you that be careful of what you take, be careful of what you share amongst each other, even as small as taking a painkiller. Also, second of all, for the younger ones who are traveling, I know you have traveled with your families before, and you do appreciate and understand that, especially when you're going through airports, the importance of you staying together as a team, you taking care not only of your belongings, but looking after each other.
The team head coach Unkemetse Mpusetsang said they are confident that the swimmers will represent the country with pride, as they have fielded a very strong team that is capable of coming with personal best times.
We are prepared.
We are prepared because the swimmers have been training all year round, so we believe that they are ready for the championship. What we are really looking forward is for them to qualify.
They've been in the water all year round, thus prepared. Tota, like earlier, medal is a cherry on top. These are assumed to be developmental games, so what we really look forward to is our kids swimming fast and making PBs, improving their times, because ultimately we want them in a period of 3 to 4 years from now, but rather B or A qualifying Olympic times. So it's a build-up.
The team manager Unteretsi Dikgole also encouraged the swimmers to do their best and thanked parents for their unwavering support.
We promise to take care of ourselves, to hold up the unity, the pride and the joy of Botswana. As said, Rbato Babotu. We are going there to represent the country. We will fly the flag very high. We promise to take care of ourselves. We promise to take care of our national flag. Thank you for coming through and sponsoring us. We really appreciate the sponsorship. Thank you for always being there. Parents.
The team is expected back home on the 9th of this month. Horatamwing, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
And in conclusion, the founder of the Rurubela Basketball Academy, Balesi Shagwa, says it's happy with how they just ended two-day the Rurubela Academy 3-on-3 basketball tournament turned out, saying it provides young basketball players with a platform to showcase their skills. Shagwa said this on the sidelines of the tournament, which was held in Gaborone this past weekend. Tsepo Kihimil has more.
Shagwa revealed that the just ended 3-on-3 basketball tournament is one of their efforts to revive the sport, which was adversely affected by COVID-19 outbreak.
We need to grow our grassroots programs. This was to give the youth an opportunity. We know very well that school sports hasn't been active since 2019, and our children have not been active. They haven't been participating in any competitions. So it was high time academies like the Rurubela Basketball Academy do something of this manner to just give kids an opportunity to play the game. As you can see, it's grown. It's reached a new level with this tournament, and we look forward to doing more.
The founder further added that he's delighted with the turnout at the tournament, which they plan to grow in the future.
I'm very happy. I'm beyond happy, to be honest. I didn't think the turnout would be like this. We had more than close to 200 people in attendance, and for the first time an academy is doing something like this. It really turned out well. As the Rurubela, we plan on growing even more than this. We plan on doing more, inviting international teams as well at youth level, because we strictly focus on the grassroots programs. We really want to make sure that this is a consistent thing. Eskanna hella once hella this year, and then you don't see us again. We're going to make sure that we carry on to next year. As we speak, me and my team and myself have been working on what we're going to do to perfect this tournament.
Despite the few setbacks they experienced, they soldiered on as they had a mandate to fulfill and targets to meet.
It's costly to set up this in this area, but we had been prepared for it. And I think that's something you have to do sometimes when you're in business, is to make the sacrifice in order to gain more in future.
The Rurubela Academy 3-on-3 basketball tournament is expected to return again next year to continue with its mandate of unearthing talent from grassroots. Tseboki Himile, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
And that's it from Botswana Tonight Sports Desk. Thank you very much for the privilege of your time, and good evening. Headlines follows.
Members of Bopeu urged to remain professional for an agile workforce. Tati company hands over documents transferring ownership of 45,000 hectares of land to the government of Botswana.
Botswana National Sport Commission CEO delighted with how athletes and sports officials performed this year.
Tata Khosimore bringing us to the end of our news bulletin this evening. Interpreting in sign language was Topo Taposa. Up next is the weather update. BTV News, Iganyarona.
Good evening, welcome to today's weather forecast brought to you by Faith Ketshabile. Earlier this week, we indicated that very hot to extremely hot temperatures are expected over most parts of the country. And today, very hot to extremely hot temperatures were recorded as follows. 39 degrees Celsius over Selebe Pikwa and Mahalape, 40 degrees Celsius over Gaborone and Letlhakane. And the current satellite image today shows some clouds over most parts of the country, except over Kalahari and the Southern District, where clear skies are still visible. And for tomorrow, the state of the atmosphere is expected to be partly cloudy over most parts, with possible chance of isolated thunder showers over Khansi and Kalahari.
Fresh to strong winds are expected over most areas tomorrow. Therefore, the public is advised to take necessary precautions. And morning temperatures are expected to be warm over southern Khanti, Kalahadi, southern central northeast, Chobe and Ngamiland, ranging between 16 degrees Celsius over Veda up to 19 degrees Celsius over Tsani, Maung and Gumari. For northern Khanti, southern southeast Katlenkwening and northern central, hot temperatures are expected ranging between 20 degrees Celsius over Jwaneng up to 25 degrees Celsius over Lepepe. Afternoon temperatures are expected to be very hot over Khanti, Kalahadi and Southern District, ranging between 36 degrees Celsius up to 38 degrees Celsius. Elsewhere, extremely hot temperatures are expected, ranging between 39 degrees Celsius over Letakane up to 40 degrees Celsius over Mahalape, Selebe Pikwe and Platjan. As for SADC cities, patches of clouds are expected over Manzini and Cape Town, while over Gqeberha, Maseru, Johannesburg and Upington, clear skies are expected. Thunder showers are expected over Antananarivo, while over Beira, Harare, Lusaka and Windhoek, clear skies are anticipated. Partly cloudy conditions are expected over Dar es Salaam, Kinshasa and Luanda, with possible chance of rain. And lastly, few patches of clouds are expected over Blantyre, which is the commercial capital of Malawi. That's all I have from the weather forecasting desk. Have yourself a good night.